Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. I believe that I am live now. Let me just make sure. Yep, I'm public and live. Awesome. Welcome. Thanks for coming. I wanted to show you guys something really cool right out the gate. Should I show it now or should I wait? I'm going to show it now. So I've been working on this program called Clippy. I think I might have talked about it last week. I'm not sure. Well, here's the program. Okay, this is Clippy. I wrote it from scratch. Anyway, so it's basically like a system that lets me download videos, batch downloads, like a bunch of clips. And also, check this shit out. I can download from a URL, create a transcript of the video, and then send it through an analysis tool that will give me an analysis of the things said in it. For example, I can drag and drop these videos into this drop zone here. I'm just going to import them for the moment. Successfully imported 8 videos, okay? Now, check this out. I can hit play, and it's a full-blown editor that I can, whatever. I already ran an analysis on this one, so you can kind of scan through and see the interesting sections here. You can zoom in. The orange ones are hate. The purple ones are just kind of routine, regular discussion of things.
Their faith on the planet. And Mamdani is an absolute self-proclaimed, not just a socialist.
Yeah, and also I have the ability to highlight sections, and I can create a clip out of it instantly. Just boom, got the clip. Or I can add it as a marker. Talking smack about Mamdani. He hates Mamdani. And then add marker. And now it's there. And check this out. This scroll bar I'm super proud of. You can drag it in to zoom in. That's pretty cool, right? And as you play...
He's gone one step.
As you play, let me zoom way in. And then watch, the playhead moves with it. Animated.
There's going to be a fight and this, that, and the other. And who knows? I don't want...
It's animated. It follows the clip, or follows the playhead. Also, I have auto scroll enabled. I can search through the transcript and jump to any of these spots if I just click it.
I'm getting ready to preach at the Instagram and Facebook with all of this Jew hate. What he wanted, but she's going to lose.
And I can go through the actual like transcript, just straight up scroll through the transcript or jump to.
Sound like rats. You say, well, you know, I just don't think you ought to talk that way. Well, I think you ought to watch it.
I can also search the transcript for any mentions, and I can like go down to the next mention. Here's one.
Influentially on our social media platform about Nigeria.
That's pretty cool, right? I'm so proud of this. This is my batch downloads page. I just paste URLs in and I hit download, and it names the videos based on the post that I'm pulling it from. So if I download it from, say, Right Wing Watch, like right here, if I downloaded this, let's see, just any random video here. Muslim influencer in France says that women have no value, are useless, and should not be respected. Thoughts? That's what the name of the video would be if I downloaded through the batch downloader. I also have, it goes into the tray, the system tray, and creates a route so that you can go to it on a web page, like on your phone. You're not at home. I mean, this is particularly useful for me, but if you're not at home, you can just go to... you can just go to the route. Oh, I don't have the route open for some reason. Hang on. Do I have the route? Yes, here. This is the route. And you can just type in a link to the URL. And if it's a video, it'll download the video automatically and put it in my video library for when I get home. And it will, if it's not a video, it will save the link so that I can come back to it later. That's particularly valuable to me. I can run an analysis on multiple videos by doing this. And then just add to queue and start queue. And it will transcribe and then analyze. And I can click on the info for the video. Hang on, let me click one that I already analyzed. Here we go, info for the video. And I can, well, it's supposed to create a description, but it didn't. And it's supposed to create tags, but again, it didn't. I got to figure out why that's not happening. Let me write that down so I don't forget. It's not creating tags or descriptions, question mark. It also creates, I can go through the analysis sections, including the ones that I created here, talking smack about Mamdani. And I can also just jump to the transcript, and I can search through the transcript for things. Oh, look, analysis complete. One of the videos finished. And I can just kind of scroll through. That's pretty cool, right? I'm so proud of this program. Here you go. Analysis is done now. Oh, that's how I rename it. There you go. This one just finished. Appeal for congressional action on the situation in Nigeria.
I am asking Congressman Riley Moore, together with Chairman Tom Cole and the House Appropriations Committee, to immediately look into this matter and to report back to me.
That's pretty cool, right? Also, I can, wait, where is it? Filter categories. I can export filtered clips. I can export all of these sections automatically. Just export filtered clips. And I can copy or re-encode. The difference is important for me, but not really for other people probably. It's quality, basically. It's a quality thing. If I re-encode, it'll be higher quality. So I check the ones I want to export. I hit export, close. And now those clips are saved in my library. And I can, let's see. Here we go, right here.
Like is happening in Nigeria, 3,100 versus 4,000.
That's the first one.
I mean, like, immediately. The United States cannot stand by while
That's the second one, and here's the third.
Christianity is facing an existential threat.
Anyway, you guys have no idea how useful this is going to be to me to be able to do this. It's really cool. I'm excited. And it automatically adds the clips to the directory. I just deleted the clips because I don't need those. So I should scan, and it will remove and, well, it'll prune any database entries that I removed, basically. So, yeah. Super useful. OMFG. I'm so proud of this program. And I have multiple libraries. You can create libraries at will. You can create as many libraries as you want. So I'm going to switch to my YouTube library. And I'm going to add my whole clip collection to it. My next step is actually going to be creating a new view where I have the video in the top right corner, and I have a list of all of my videos on the left that I can click through. And it has like the metadata or something in the bottom right. I haven't decided what should go there yet. I can sort by date created, date added. I can sort by name. So yeah, I think it's really cool. Here's my save for later if I type a link into the web page on my phone. My video editor, normalize audio. Anyway, I'm pretty proud of it. I think it's really cool. And I'm going to make it available for people to download if they want it when I'm done. Wait, can people barely hear me? You should be able to hear me okay. Yeah, I'm okay. I think my volume is fine. Anyway, super excited about it. Like I said, it goes to the icon tray and it just stays there for a while. But it's improved my productivity by a lot. So, for example, if I want to just find any old thing, let's see. Let me just find here. Oh, I already did this one. Let me find another version of Red Sky News, which Greg Locke's been doing. 2743. Hold on. Let me just look for media. Well, I was looking for a long form video that I could. It's useful to find long form videos like Greg Locke videos, like 2-hour-long videos, and I just plug them into Clippy here. I drop the URL in, and I let it process it, transcribe, and analyze. And now I have the whole thing that I can... Where did it go? Oh, it's in my downloads library, not my YouTube library. And now I have the whole thing. I can just jump through and find the interesting spots. The black spots are just boring, unimportant sections, probably. But I can check the transcript just to be sure. So I'm pretty proud of it. Super happy with how it came out. Use Clippy for your Hovind phone call video, yeah? Yes, but that was an older version of Clippy that wasn't quite as robust. I didn't have the video editor yet, but yeah. I think it's cool. Yeah, I think my volume is okay.
Thank you for praying. Keep praying. President Trump is going to meet with our president.
Do I sound okay, but the thing doesn't, or?
So something is being done.
Yeah, I think you got to check your volume. Anyway, I'm really proud of Clippy. I'm happy with how it's coming along. I think it's really good. All right, let's talk about what we're going to hit, shall we? Like I said, I'm eventually going to make it available for download. The transcribing feature alone is so incredibly useful. There's like a program called Whisper that does really good, like a really good job of transcribing. YouTube uses it too. Let's see, timestamps. Okay, cool. Timestamps, got it. Now, let me pull up my clips folder. Which do we want to hit first? Let's hit Republican implosion first and talk about how that's going for them. Spoiler alert, not well. All right, cool. Republicans are falling to pieces, and they know it. Listen to what Bannon said.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028...
Okay, see, this is a problem right here that Clippy can solve. Shoot, but I don't have a drop zone. I should really have a drop zone for this. I'm sorry, 1 second. No, yeah, it doesn't have a drop zone. That sucks. Let me just write this down so I don't forget. 1 second. Create a drop zone for normalize audio. The audio is really quiet here. So let me just amp it up by normalizing the audio. This is another feature on Clippy. Here you go. So just find it. Where did I put it? It's, no. Where is it? Republican implosion. And it's Steve Bannon. Here we go. Normalize audio. Why is it bouncing? It's not supposed to bounce like that. What is happening? That's not supposed to happen. All right, it finished.
And I will tell you right now.
Where did it save, though, now? I forgot where I told it. Is this it? No, that's not it. Holy heckers, where did it save? Clippy? I don't know where it saved. Wait, videos? Nope. Is it in here? Nope. I don't know where it's saved. Well, I gotta fix it. Where are the files saving after being normalized? I'll fix that later. I'm working on it, though. It's coming along, and I'm super proud of it. Oh. It's saved in the exact same folder. Disregard. I figured it out. It's saved right alongside the file. There it is. One more time. And let me pull up my timestamps. Republican implosion. And we're starting at 14 minutes. Wow, we are 15 minutes into this, and I haven't started yet. Okay.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
It's a little bit of a self-awareness that didn't exist before Mom Donnie won, huh? Because these people seemed to think that they're, like, super popular. Everybody loves what they're doing. Delusionally believed that only the only people that didn't like them or what they were up to with ICE and everything else were, like, far-left lunatics that made up, like, 2% of the country. He's just now, like, you know, it's just clicking in his head that he is a very unliked person, and so is Donald Trump. They know. they know they are fucked when the time comes. When in the next election, they know they are fucked.
They're not going to stop. They are getting more and more and more radical. And
Are they in the room with us right now, Steve?
And more radical. And we have to counter that. And what do we have to counter it with? We have to counter it with more action, more intense action, more urgency. We're burning daylight. If you look
How could you possibly be more urgent as a Republican? You are fucking destroying the country in front of our eyes right now. How could you possibly get people on the right whipped into more of a blood frenzy? They are absolutely out of their gourds right now. We literally have a Gestapo roaming the streets, the military walking the streets of U.S. cities with guns. You know, we feared that Trump would institute martial law. It's here. It's here. He did it with a whimper. Everybody was worried about the line that he would cross using the Insurrection Act. When he just did it. He didn't have to, well, he did have to, but he chose not to use the Insurrection Act. He just ordered the military into the streets.
We're burning daylight. If you look across every aspect of this, we have to codify what President Trump has done by executive order, right?
We have to codify it. That means he wants to get Congress to sign this stuff into law.
We have to codify it. And people say, well, they're just going to be messing bills. We got to put aside these structural barriers and get on with it.
And what he means when he says put aside these structural barriers is ignore the Constitution, ignore the rule of law, ignore any guidelines or bureaucracy or values or institutions that exist to protect the United States from a fascist takeover. Ignore them in favor of a fascist takeover. That's what he means. But I'm a little happier today than I was the day before Mamdani won his election, because I can now clearly see something that I already strongly suspected, nay, knew, that Republicans have pushed it so far at this point that there's no coming back for them. They are fucked. They aren't going to win another election for the foreseeable future. In one man's humble opinion, I believe they're going to be voted out everywhere across the country. They are fucked. And that goes for ICE too. They're fucked. It's a matter of time before these people, ICE and others, Bannon, realize that Trump can't protect them forever. In fact, he can't protect them beyond the next 2 years, maybe. The next 12 months, maybe. But certainly not after 3 years when he's going to be out of office. He's old as sin. He's on his last leg as it stands. Even if he did try to run for 2028, he's too old. He's almost in his 80s now. How old is Elon Musk? Is he 50? He's got 30 years to go, maybe. Longer. How old is Pam Bondi? Was she like 30? She's got 50 years on this planet. How long does Trump have? Maybe 5, I would guess, in the next 5 years. I don't see a scenario in which Bannon, Pam Bondi, Elon Musk, Peter Navarro, or any of these, anybody from ICE, anybody, survives out of jail after Trump leaves office. And once they realize that, they're going to turn on him. The reason I say that with so much confidence is because we're already seeing it happen. What have you seen from Marjorie Taylor Greene lately? She turned on him. She knows what's coming. And she doesn't want to be on the wrong side of it when it happens. for no reason. Steve Bannon, Trump, Pam Bondi, they had their opportunity. They had their shot at power. And it's going to last this very small sliver of time, and then you are fucked. There's more. It's not just, what I'm saying isn't just based on Steve Bannon. There's more. Keep listening.
President Trump today gave to the Senate when they came over for breakfast. Even Lindsey Graham, some of the guys he liked, and some of these institutions, I understand. This is a very tough decision to make. And you're going to see some people in the conservative movement that not in a million years, because I talked to him today, quite frankly, I had Hawley on the show this morning, Josh Hawley, and he's talking about it, and I'm trying to play the institution. Well, they called me up this afternoon and said, let's go through the 10 reasons we need to do it. And these are heavy hitters on what I would call the constitutional, limited government, constitutionalist in our movement.
What he's saying is he wants to push bills through to... He doesn't want to rule by executive order. He wants to force all of these changes through bills. Nothing's going to save you, Steve. Nothing. Nothing is going to save you from accountability. You can push through as many bills as you want. You are fucked. And so are the rest of the Republicans. They are fucked.
And they're about to come out over the next couple of days and make this argument because they said, look, we have to understand that if we don't take this to the maximum, a maximalist strategy now with a sense of urgency, and in doing this seize the institutions, if we don't do that now, we're going to lose this chance forever. Because
you're going to lose the chance forever. There's nothing that he could possibly do, or any of these people could do, that could prevent what's going to happen. The reason that there are not riots in the streets right now and people aren't banging down the door of the filthy rich is because elections still exist. If that goes away, things change.
You're never going to have another Trump, right? You're just not going to have it.
So that was Steve Bannon's reaction to the election, admitting openly that he knows that he's going to jail when this is all said and done. He knows that. And this is the Speaker of the House's reaction.
Told him this morning what we've talked about many times and what I've said here before. The president is on the ballot in 2026. President Trump is on the ballot next fall. Because if we lose the majority, if the Republicans, the common sense people here who are doing the job for the American people, if we lose the majority in the House and this radical element of the Democrat Party were able to take over.
Radical element, quote unquote. I can't believe nobody has said this to his face yet, but you are the radical element in the country, Mike. You are the problem. You are the outlier, the extremist. You are the issue that's going to be removed from power. And he's correct. Yes, in 2026, I suspected this within a month of Trump taking office. There's nothing that could stop a blue wave from happening in 2026. Nothing. I suspected that was going to happen and Trump is going to be impeached and removed by force. I mean, we've seen a lot of talk and then nothing happens. No action. Nobody does anything. They're all like, oh my God, look at what's happening. What do we do? I think that is over, honestly. I really do. I think that the people that matter, that keep these institutions in place, are going to be in the right place at the right time when Trump is impeached and removed from power. And he's going to have to leave. He's going to be forced out, in my opinion. We'll see. But I'm very confident of it. Either way, when Trump is removed from power, like, what do you think happens? Nancy Pelosi takes power? Of course not. It's going to be J.D. Vance. So they're still going to have the presidency. But they're not going to have the cult level of support anymore. That is going to be extremely important.
We've already seen that movie. They will try to end the Trump administration. He won't have 4 years. He'll have only 2.
Absolutely.
Because they will move to impeach him probably on the first day of the new Congress in January 2027. and they will try to systematically unwind all the important reforms that we've done for the American people.
Important reforms we've done for the American people. What important reforms do you think you've done delusionally? They've done nothing but destroy the country.
Lower cost, to have a better quality of living.
Lower costs? I'm sorry. If there's a Trump supporter out there listening, you can't possibly believe that Trump lowered costs, right? Gas prices are higher today than when Trump took office. Grocery prices are higher today than when Trump took office. That's just what it is. Look it up.
On health care, to increase access and quality of care. We are the party that is doing that, and the president needs 4 years to complete his agenda, not just 2. So he is in a very real sense on the ballot.
You know what Mike just said there? That whole thing, he's reframing what this movement is all about. What's the movement really about? Getting brown people out of the country. That's what it's all about. For Mike Johnson, for Trump, for Vance, for all of them. Oh, that's another person that's fucked. J.D. Vance. He's pretty young. You guys want to bet on how long it's going to take before he goes to federal prison for the rest of his fucking life? It's going to happen. Mark my words. It will happen. Anyway, the whole movement was about immigration, right? What happened to that? Suddenly it's about prices? Since when? They raised taxes on the lower and middle class through tariffs. What do you mean it's about lowering prices? What are you smoking?
He's fiercely committed to us winning. He is going to help. He's offered to do rallies and the teletown halls and all the things. He's sent out a huge round of endorsements of incumbents, Republican incumbents. So
he's talking about Trump, right? The people that Trump endorsed were hurt in the elections. They performed negatively in the elections. Trump is toxic now. He is toxic. You don't want to be associated with Trump anymore in politics. It's flipped.
Just over the last few days, he is very much engaged, very dialed in, and he understands the stakes. President Trump is on the ballot in 2026.
Anyway, they know. Mike Johnson knows. Steve Bannon knows. And this guy, Jason Rapert, he knows too. Talked about this on another video recently, this specific video, but I want to play it again. By the way, Rapert, what a name, right? A last name, R-A-P-E-R-T. You know how some people, they're named after like the thing that they did, Tyler, Mason, or Anders' son, the son of Ander, or whatever. What do you think Jason Rapert's family did to earn that last name? Listen to this.
We now have in our country, in Minnesota, in New York, and in Virginia, you elected Islamists, communists.
No and no to both of those. There are no Islamist communists in government in the United States. There are no communists in government in the United States. There aren't any Islamists in government in the U.S. This is just delusion. Mamdani is not an Islamist or a communist, but okay.
Anti-Semites.
Nope.
People that believe exactly what Hitler believed.
You think that Mamdani believed what Hitler believed? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. He's referring to his political opponents as Nazis here, right? Didn't Trump say something about how wrong that is to call people Nazis? And this is just complete unadulterated delusion anyway.
We elected, these areas elected these people to public office. And it's beyond belief that we've done it. You've got to stand up. You've got to do something. I'm begging and I'm pleading with you.
They're panicking because they know what's coming. They're panicking because they know there's a blue wave coming that can't be stopped. And when that blue wave comes in, the fire in our souls will not be quelled. These people are going to go to federal prison for the rest of their fucking lives. They are absolutely disgusting human beings. The shit that they say and do, the shit that they have justified. This guy specifically is a Christian nationalist who is a stochastic terrorist who says Joe Biden should be taken out, quote unquote. When he was in office, he said that. Face no repercussions, of course, for that kind of shit. These people are vile and will face accountability. Fascinatingly, I actually said something like that on my community posts the other day. Where the hell did my community post go? Here it is. I basically said, when Dems take control again, which they will, we can't worry about unifying over accountability. We must make people face accountability for what they've done. Because even if we did give them grace and pardon them for what they did, I'm talking Steve Bannon and others, they wouldn't understand the significance or importance of it. Because they don't seem to think they've done anything wrong. It would accomplish nothing but showing people they can commit crimes and get away with it. We should have been harder on the slave owners after the Civil War as well. We shouldn't have gone so hard on unity. We should have forced them to face accountability. It would accomplish nothing but showing people they can commit crimes, get away with it. Steve Bannon, Elon Musk, Pam Bondi, Peter Navarro, every single ICE agent who participated in criminal activity, and others must go to federal prison for the rest of their lives. No exceptions, no unity. They must understand that there are consequences for their actions. While we're at it, we'll need to teach a paradox of intolerance in schools. Anyway, I got some absolutely wild responses on here. Like, you wouldn't even believe it. Can you sort these by controversial? Let's see. No, you can't. Well, that sucks. Let me just scroll to the bottom, see if I can find some doozies. Do you really not understand how this post is deeply disturbing, says this person? I said, yes, I hope it disturbs the shit out of neo-Nazis, members of ICE, and others. I specifically, explicitly said people who committed crimes, participated in criminal activity. No, we need to stop going tit for tat. That's how we got to where we are now. I said criminals must pay for their crimes. Hold on, I'm just looking for interesting ones. One second. Here's the reality. If an ordinary person is caught speeding and won't voluntarily get out of the car when asked by police, they drag that person out, cuff them, and take them to jail. Trump attacks the Capitol with a violent mob, uses intimidation and fraud to try to steal the 2020 election, and steals boxes of classified documents, hides them and refuses to give them back, and gets reelected by racist, gullible fools. There's been zero accountability. Yeah, absolutely. But there will be moving forward. Mark my words, there will be accountability moving forward. Very anti-democratic. I said destroying democracy equals charging criminals. Very anti-democratic of me to charge criminals with crimes. Yes, very anti-democratic, totally. Owen wants a civil war so badly he can't help himself, says this poor dumb fool. Are you serious right now? What in what I said read to you civil war? These people are straight up delusional, dude. The vast majority of my community posts are like supportive and on point, and, you know, I mean, in the comment section, they get it or whatever. But I get some real nutcases down there from time to time, and it's like deeply entertaining to read through some of the crazy shit that they say. Okay, precisely what crimes did Elon or any of these just rich associates or media personalities commit, not just for being shitty people and having bad politics causing damage? What did they specifically do besides just work for the Trump administration, who the Supreme Court has already ruled about presidential acts, so anything Trump has done is at this time considered immunity, period. God, it's so fucking stupid, I swear. What did he do? Here, no need to wonder, just loaded up our question gun. Let's go answer hunting. 1 second. Hold on. Yeah. Give me a second. I'm searching through. Give me a second. Hey, Owen, love your content. Your videos help me realize the hypocrisies of the Christian faith. Keep going and tell L40 and the kitties I said hi. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the super chat. Emily Sigmund, welcome. I feel we're at the point that the average American either gets brave or they scatter and hide. Yeah, we are there. Absolutely. I'm still amazed anyone invested in Bernie Madoff. He literally made off with people's money. It's like someone named Wiener getting in trouble for sending Wiener pictures, people, including my... Yeah, that's true. I don't know enough about the Bernie Madoff thing to speak on it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about with the Anthony Weiner stuff. That's funny, right? Okay. Here you go. Here are just a few items on the list of crimes that Elon Musk has committed. Hatch Act violations. Employment lawyers contend Musk violated the Hatch Act when he wore a Make America Great Again hat while performing official duties in the Oval Office during an executive order signing. Privacy violations. Legal experts argue Musk's Doge team violated the Privacy Act of 1974 by accessing and disclosing personal data from Treasury Department systems without authorization. Federal employee unions sued, claiming the administration breached privacy protections by allowing Doge affiliates access to restricted government IT systems. Check this shit out. If I remember correctly, hang on. Let me just, Russian. Can you... There's a specific situation I'm trying to remember that's pretty serious. Conflicts of interest. Musk's companies were under investigation by at least 11 federal agencies, yet he directed funding and staffing decisions at many of those same agencies through Doge. Multiple state attorneys general have sued, alleging Musk violated the appointments clause by exercising authority as a principal officer without Senate confirmation or congressional approval. I mean, those are just a few laws that he violated. There's another really big one that I'm searching for here. Give me a second. Hang on, I just want to verify that this is accurate before I say it. Yes, I found it. Here you go. This is one of the biggest disturbing moments. This should seal the deal for Elon Musk going to federal prison for the rest of his fucking life right here. In the minutes after Doge accessed the NLRB's systems, someone with a Russian IP address started trying to log in using one of the newly created Doge accounts with the correct username and password. The login attempts were blocked, but whoever was attempting to log in was using a correct username and password for one of the newly created Doge accounts, but they couldn't access it because IP addresses outside of the United States are restricted from accessing certain government systems. Elon Musk, presumably, provided a username and password to private U.S. government systems to Russian operatives, who then tried to use it. According to NPR, according to Krebs on Security, which is like a security thing, Daniel J. Barulis was the whistleblower, a 38-year-old security architect at the NLRB, and he made these allegations on April 14th in a letter sent to the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. Former White House cyber official Jake Braun said that any chief information security officer worth his salt would look at network activity like this and assume it's a nation-state attack from China or Russia. The NLRB has multiple ongoing cases involving Musk and his companies, including SpaceX and Tesla, creating a significant conflict of interest. So there you go. What crime did Elon Musk commit? I've listed a billion of them, but that one where he almost certainly gave private access to U.S. government systems to Russian operatives, that one is pretty far up there. That is treason territory. That's definitely treason, right? Clearest cut case of treason in my mind. Although Russia isn't actually at war with the U.S. technically, so. Let's see. What else did they say? What crimes did Elon or any of these just rich associates? You know what? I'm actually just going to paste that whole news article to them. Here you go. He provided private access to U.S. government systems to Russian operatives operating out of Russia directly, not just people in the U.S. The point is that these people are going to pay for their crimes. They're absolutely going to pay for their crimes. They will. And I'm sorry for the 30% of the country that doesn't seem to think they did anything wrong, but they did. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. Absolutely wild. So 42 minutes. All right, next story. Let's hit Josh Bernstein. He's absolutely out of his mind. He's entertaining as hell, though. Josh Bernstein. Wait, which one? 2021, 25. Here it is. This is the one I was looking for. Okay. This is Josh Bernstein. If you don't know him, he's a political commentator. I talked about him a lot back in the day. But he had something absolutely wild to say. Listen to this.
Let the mass denaturalizations begin, because that's what needs to happen. You can stop so much of this garbage just by doing that.
Denaturalizing, which means stripping people of their U.S. citizenship. That's what he means. Mass removing people from the country, sending them to concentration camps or other countries or whatever, U.S. citizens included. That's what he means. Holy Christ, dude.
And you know what? This also brings me to this. This is another reason why we've got to clean up our elections. We've got to make sure that these people are gone. We have to basically become the Gestapo, but for a good cause.
I'm sorry. It would be hilarious if it weren't so fucking disturbing. We have to be the Gestapo, but for a good cause, by removing people from power that you don't like, by deporting mass numbers of people. I don't know if he knows this. I knew this, but I didn't realize it. I didn't connect the dots. But Jews in Germany were immigrants. They were the immigrants. They weren't immigrants. They had lived there for hundreds of years, but Hitler called them aliens. He claimed that they didn't belong there. They weren't part of Europe, and he wanted them out. In the exact same identical way to what's happening here in the United States with basically non-white people, with Mexicans, with immigrants of various sorts. It happened identically. And you know how he did it? He used the Gestapo. So how exactly do you think the Gestapo in the United States would do things in a good way that the Gestapo in Germany did things in a bad way? How would they be different? He's calling for them to literally operate in an identical way.
Which is what? Getting rid of people that are not supposed to be in this country.
Literally what Hitler said about the Jews.
By force. By force, no matter what means necessary. You know, they want to call us fascists all the time. Hell, why don't we live up to their expectations, okay?
Dude, I love this line. I love it when people say this. You know what it reminds me of? Hold on. There's a community post I put up the other day. Nope, not this one. This is the diddler. Diddle me this. What list, says the diddler Trump. No, that's not the one I was looking for. Sorry. Was it this one? We are all domestic terrorists. Yes, this is real. Nope, sorry, that's not the one. Let's see. This one? Nope. This is Alex Jones wearing a Hitler mustache. Yes, all of these are real. That's not the one. Here it is. This is what I was looking for right here. God, can I really not make it bigger? My God, these Trump people are fascists, says this girl holding a phone. Dude leans in with a MAGA hat. That attitude is what's pushing me to be a fascist. Say what? Might as well. You say I'm a Nazi, so fine, I'll be a Nazi if that makes you happy. It doesn't. I bought this Waffen-SS uniform for Halloween. You'll cry offensive, so maybe I'll just wear it every day. He shaves his head while getting a swastika tattoo. I just hate to do this. I feel bullied, really. This is the exact argument, right? Is that not exactly what Josh Bernstein just said?
By force, no matter what means necessary. You know, they want to call us fascists all the time. Hell, why don't we live up to their expectations?
I know, you're just being forced to. Oh, you don't want to, right, Josh? Oh, you're being forced to. You'll push through, though, right? You'll do it anyway.
Okay? But do it in a good way. Get rid of these people in our country. And if we don't do it, well, we might be having a different conversation come November of 2026.
It's wild to me that he keeps saying, but in a good way, like that changes literally anything. This dude is such a colossal scumbag, seriously. Hang on. I actually have like a bunch of other videos from him that are like deeply entertaining to go back and look at now. Check this out. His banner says, the choice is crystal clear. Trump 2020 or death. Trump or death. He believed he was going to die in 2020, apparently, and everyone else was, if Biden won.
Trump or death.
This is, by the way, this is produced mid-February 2020 when this came out. About 8 months before the election.
That's what this is all about. That's going to be the code moving forward to the election. Okay? I'm going to end almost every segment with the same thing. Your choice is Trump or death. Immigration, you want control over immigration, you vote for President Trump. You want more terrorists coming into the United States of America, you vote against him.
I mean, of course, it's complete unadulterated delusion. Terrorists were not coming into the country under Biden. Immigration went up and down because of COVID. It varied. It was up at a certain point under Trump. It was down under Trump. It was up under Biden, down under Biden. But there were never, like, terrorists coming in. The narrative is called the Great Replacement conspiracy theory, and it was the same conspiracy theory in Germany about Jews. They were coming in to replace good Germans and to outbreed them. It basically what's the word? I'm looking for the word here. It's on the tip of my tongue. They were looking for an opportunity to have more children than them so that they could outnumber them or whatever. That's just not how it works. It's not how it has ever worked. Immigrants coming here are not like an invading army. It's pure, unadulterated delusion. Now Kashmir is in here harassing me. Go away.
It's really that simple. This is not about policy.
Oh, I'm sorry. And yeah, remember, this isn't just about the idea that immigrants are going to come in and try to replace us or whatever. He believed that it was going to be death. He thought he was going to die if Trump didn't win in 2020.
It's really that simple. This is not about policy. This is not about party. This is literally about survival. And the only one that's going to help us survive is President Trump being reelected. Who knows what happens after that in 2024? We'll get to that and cross that bridge when we get there. But we've got to make sure that we get President Trump reelected because, as I said, it's Trump or death.
Dude is absolutely insane. I actually sometimes troll this subreddit called r/Doomer Circle Jerk. It's insane on there, dude. It's just right-wing insanity. They're all talking about how... let me just show you an example. Hang on. Now's as good an opportunity as any to talk about it. Here you go. This is an example. 1 year ago today, a Redditor said we were all overreacting to Trump getting elected. Nobody's going to be put in a concentration camp, quote unquote. And this person says, Doomers are now pretending that concentration camps actually happened because they so badly want to gloat about being right. There are literal concentration camps that people are being sent to. In El Salvador and Alligator Alcatraz is a concentration camp. Do you know what a concentration camp is? Where people are concentrated in high numbers and treated like animals. And that's absolutely happening in Alligator Alcatraz. I like how they all moved on from crying about cancel culture with the late night hosts and pretending they never once took part in such a thing and went back to trying to cancel Sydney Sweeney after a single interview where she literally said nothing. Complete and total delusion. First of all, you know that Sydney Sweeney thing was completely fabricated? Nobody gave a shit about that ad. You remember the American Eagle ad? It was, hang on. This ad right here, this American Eagle ad.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing.
Is this the right ad? I'm not sure.
Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you.
No, I don't think this is the ad. This is just another stupid ad. Here, this is the one.
I'm not here to tell you to...
This is the whole ad. Where is it? Is this it?
buy Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very jeans.
You see what I did there, right? Jeans are passed down from...
Anyway, God, it's so transparently like sex appeal. It's painful. It's such manipulation. The point is, nobody was freaking out about that. Nobody said that was a Nazi dog whistle. You know who started it? The right. Fox News and other right-wing news networks started saying the left is freaking out because it's a Nazi dog whistle. It was very obviously a Nazi dog whistle, but nobody gave a shit. Nobody was paying any attention to it. The right started that. Hang on. It's called AstroTurfed. Care about wing media. I'm looking. Let me see if I can find the article. I was going to cover it at one point, and I just kind of chose not to. The right looks for opportunities to start culture war issues, and the Sydney Sweeney thing was perfect. I suspect maybe it was choreographed even. Like, the ad was planned by American Eagle, and they asked Fox News and others to blow this completely out of proportion to start a culture war campaign. That's my suspicion. This is the exact website I was looking for. Open Measures. Outrage over American Eagle's Great Jeans ad was a conservative media creation. And it's an actual scientific study that they did where they researched posts about the Sydney Sweeney thing, when they started and who started them and stuff. It was completely fabricated out of nothing. Like, the bubble that this Doomer Circle Jerk subreddit lives in is impenetrable. They just live in another reality. They think that there are not concentration camps that Trump is sending people to. They think that Sydney Sweeney was actually something that the left was outraged over. It was clearly a racist dog whistle, obviously, but nobody gave a shit. It was media manipulation the whole time. And these poor gullible suckers fell for it. Anyway, back to Josh Bernstein. This dude actually scares me in how detached from reality he is. Some of the things he says are absolutely insane. Hang on, let me find a good one. Listen to this one. I'm almost done here and you can jump in, okay? Listen to this one.
I think that we should have a permanent ban on delivering goods and services into big, blue, dominant, liberal cities in America.
This was September 2021 when he said this, by the way. And it was like, I think immediately before... No, it was after the election, after Joe Biden was inaugurated, because he was inaugurated January 20th, 2021. So this is like a month later or something, less.
I think...
No, I'm sorry. So this is like 9 months later, 9 months after Biden took power. And he wants to use food as a weapon against his political enemies. This is psychosis.
I think that the truckers should boycott big blue cities in California, New York, and Chicago, and and Houston, and everywhere else that Detroit, anywhere where there are tons of registered Democrats. And I would do it honestly by zip code. So in other words, I'm sure these groups that are forming can get a hold of voter registrations in some of these big cities.
That's insane. I mean, really process what this guy is calling for. He wants to find the most heavily populated areas with Democrats and kill them through famine. We have a Republican problem. We have a Trump problem, but we have a Republican problem that is going to have to be dealt with after Trump is gone. And I'm not sure how to grapple with that other than to jail criminals for the crimes that they commit. Like Elon Musk and Bannon and all, everybody who participated with ICE has to go to prison, who broke crimes who violated the law, who committed crimes while they were members of ICE.
And cities that are dominated with Democrats, we need to squeeze.
Oh, yes. I see you guys noticed patriotpoopbags.com. Yes, patriotpoopbags.com. I know you're thinking, like, what is this, right? What is this an ad for? I couldn't figure it out for the longest time. Like, is he marketing to older people who, like, use, like, adult diapers, Depends or something? Is that what this is for? No. It turns out it's little bags with Joe Biden's face on it that you use to pick up dog poop, basically, is what it is. Still absurd and disgusting and ridiculous, but oh my God, it's so stupid.
Squeeze them dry. You get nothing. You get nothing delivered. You get no food. You get no shelter. You get no water.
Why? I mean, I can understand fighting in a kind of strike situation, but he's not doing that. He's not calling for strike. He's calling for murder. He's trying to kill people. There is nothing that the Democrats could do to make him happy, to end this protest that he wants to form. He just wants people dead.
You get no supplies, you get nothing. Until this illegal administration, this treasonous dictatorship.
He's talking about Biden.
Steps down.
A treasonous dictatorship, he said.
Supposed to be there in the first place because they stole their power. They did not earn their power. People did not vote for these scumbags, and therefore they are illegitimate.
See, this is the difference between me and Josh Bernstein. This is the difference between the left and the right. The right spent 4 years screeching about how they wanted these people dead. They wanted Biden dead. They put up Biden hogtied on the back of trucks. They talked about ways to murder people with famine and stuff like that for 4 straight years. What are the Democrats doing? Watching in horror as everything around us is destroyed by these extremist nutcases. Even if I were on this guy's side, I would never use the tactics that he uses. They are dirty and evil and wrong. of lying, cheating, manipulating, advocating for people's deaths and stuff like this. I would never participate in that. It's vile. That's Josh Bernstein, man. He is just a disgusting human being, seriously. It's just wrong. Tell me what you think in the comments. Okay, I will be back in a second, and to fill in for me, we have Alpha Force Zero. It's going to keep you entertained for just a second. I'll be right back, okay? You coming in? Yeah. All right, 1 second.
You guys are getting me out of chores here. I was supposed to do recycling, and I started walking up the stairs. Sorry, I'm looking at like the Discord chat from earlier, from before the stream, and someone said 07. I haven't seen that in a while. Yeah, I was walking up the stairs and my stepmom was like, "Hey, did you did you clean out the litter box and did you take out the recycling?" I was like, I have to go do something for Dad. Bye. So yeah, you guys are getting me out of it. So how are you guys tonight? How are you all feeling? Yeah, 07. Yeah, again, I haven't seen that in like forever. I haven't seen that since probably 2021. Now you're all saying 07. I haven't seen that since like 2021. I have school tomorrow, and I don't want to go to school tomorrow, but I don't have a choice, unfortunately. AZ, if you are old enough to become president of the United States of America, what would you do? Not become president. I don't want to do all that. I would do my best to, first of all, tax like the top 1% because they have way too much money and it would benefit our economy ultimately. I'd do my best to redistribute that wealth to the like lowest of low, like poorest of poor people. Probably I don't know. I don't know actually. I'd focus on the housing crisis. Stop letting like giant companies buy up all of the houses and then like rent them out for ridiculous prices. I don't know. I'm just like focusing mainly on stuff that like my family has struggled with. Those are the things that I'd try to do first. I don't know how much of it I'd be able to accomplish, but I'd start with that. Free healthcare and education. Well, I mean, yeah. I think taxing like the 1%, like I said, would also help fund free healthcare and free education, or at least cheap healthcare, cheap education if I can't get to the free bit on my own. So I'm reading everything. Someone said they love the purple in my hair. Thank you. Yeah, it's fading. I took a shower earlier, and as I was washing my hair, freezing cold water, by the way. Freezing cold. You can still see my hair is wet, actually. Freezing cold water. Not a single drop of hot water. It was basically ice. Like, I was basically bathing in ice water. And my hair, the color, I could still see the color coming out of it. Why was there color coming out of it? When I washed it off, like when I rinsed all the dye out originally, I rinsed until clear. So how was there color coming out of it in freezing cold water? What is going on here? But yeah, so the ends are like really faded now. But I like whatever. I can't really do anything about it, I guess. My friend gave me these really cool platform boots, and they have like buckles all along them. And I was trying to loosen the buckles because they're slightly too small for me. But also they were on like the tightest thing. So I was loosening them, and as I like lifted my hand up, because I had finished loosening them, I scratched myself on one of them. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you definitely can't. It's on my hand and it hurts. It hurts really bad. So that sucks. I was measuring this room. Want to see Cashmere? Cashmere is not here, unfortunately. I was measuring this room because I'm gonna steal it soon, and I can't find the measuring tape, so I'm trying to use my phone. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get back to doing that now. Wait. My phone's actually dying. It's at like 12%. Wow. Wait, you guys are going to a picture to my brother and my sister. But yeah, I'm measuring this room because I'm gonna get a vanity, and I want to know. Wait, there we go. And I want to know how much space I'll have. Oh, it can't see it.
You want to join or no?
No, I have chores to do.
Okay. I'm back. Love you.
Have fun.
Okay. Okay. What's up?
They asked me what I'd do if I became president.
Yeah.
I said
You said here.
I'm
You
just.
said what?
I said that my immediate focus, if I became president, would be taxing like the top 1% and redistributing that to the very the lowest of low, poorest of poor people, and also focusing on the housing crisis and ensuring that big companies can't keep buying places and then renting for extremely high prices for no reason.
That's a problem that's particularly acute in New York City. Interesting.
Yeah, but it's also happening in places like West Virginia. Mom, for example, she couldn't find anywhere because everywhere she looked, it was all bought out by super big companies and being rented for $2,000.
Interesting. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Okay, back to what we were doing. We finished Bernstein. Love you. Finished Bernstein. Let's hit the Satanist throwback. I had more Bernstein, but that's okay. All right, cool. Anyone who's been watching me for a while will remember this guy, but he's entertaining as hell. All right. Have to leave in 50 minutes. Work decided the annual meeting will be in the evening this year instead of the morning. Are you serious? Oh my God, that's miserable. The right goes out of their way to do fascism. The left says, wow, that's fascist. And then the right loses their minds. Yep, that's the Sydney Sweeney thing in a nutshell. Again, it was completely fake. The whole thing was completely fake. All right, cool. This is a Satanist who went on a talk show in the 80s, I believe. 1988 is when this talk show aired live. And this is right in the middle of Satanic Panic, which was an insane moment to be alive in the United States, especially as a non-Christian. And this guy went on this show to take questions from the audience. It was wild. It's a little bit of a throwback. I covered this years ago, but it was interesting. Let's listen.
You're not going to get me to believe that this kid who, the gentleman you're talking about, I believe was...
Hang on, let me just check which kid heard Satan's voice from the headphones. Yeah. He's about to tell us about a kid who supposedly heard Satan's voice coming from his headphones where he was listening to rock music, and it inspired him, this satanic voice, to kill his parents, I think? To kill his mom.
You're not going to get me to believe that this kid who, the gentleman you're talking about, I believe, was in New Jersey, stabbed his mother, then killed himself, actually had Satan come to him through the headphones of his Walkman and say, kill your mother. The kid was a lunatic. You know, simple as that.
I think I have to object there because I happened to investigate that. The boy was a very good, honest student. He was a very proper student up until about 6 or 7 weeks before the event happened.
We've got a consultant on cults over here, a cult expert, if you will. This cult expert, Father James Labar, is telling us that Satan did speak to this kid through his headphones to tell him to kill his mom. I swear to God. This is why I don't call myself a cult expert. I know so much about cults, it's ridiculous. And mind control and the whole nine. but it's an unregulated term, and anybody can claim it.
And then something got him going. Part of it was the heavy metal rock music with satanic lyrics.
Totally.
A lot of it was an interest. We don't know whether he was psychotic. We don't know whether he was a basket case or what happened to him.
Oh, he was super well measured. A grade A student, and then he heard Satan's voice and it was all over. Absolutely.
But I think the important, an important thing here is not to just presume because they don't agree with what you seem to think, and automatically they're erroneous.
That the claims are erroneous. Just because it doesn't line up with what you think doesn't mean that Satan didn't speak into this kid's headphones and tell him to kill his mom. I mean, holy Christ, dude. This whole thing was insane. It was so entertaining. It was a 45-minute talk show that I covered on my Unfiltered channel if you want to see it. But let's listen to just a little bit more here. Which one was this? Oh, yes. This other cult expert calls in to talk to this guy.
Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm an ex-Satanist and cultist.
Yeah, hold on.
Ex-Satanist and cultist.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm an ex-Satanist and cultist, and cultist, and I would like to make some comments. First off, I'm the area authority in this. I work with the police and the Warneke Ministries and other folks.
We got a new cult expert.
And to say that the cultists or the satanic cultists don't abuse children is incorrect. About approximately 1 month ago, I had a call from a group that was sacrificing their own children, and one of the ladies wanted to come out of this particular group, and she had stated living in the community of believers, they would have their own children and they would sacrifice their own children.
So they would have children, raise them from childhood, from birth to 10 years old, ? And then they would sacrifice them to Satan and have another. Totally. Also, this woman here that they showed just now, she is supposedly one of those children who suffered at the hands of Satanists. Was like, they tried to sacrifice her or some other ridiculous nonsense, dude. Oh my God. It's insane. These people are insane.
Have their own children and they would sacrifice their own children. And they also have sex with their children.
Disgusting. It really does take a depraved mind to come up with some of the disgusting shit, the disgusting claims that these people baselessly make. There is no evidence for any of this. It's completely made up right off the top of their heads. But what is going through their heads to get them to a point where they could even come up with something so disgusting? Really?
It even goes as far as putting their children in caskets with dead bodies and lowering them into the ground and covering them over with dirt. Also, parents will take ritual knives and teach their children how to stab dead bodies correctly, as they do in the sacrifices that are performed.
Sir, what?
Yeah, and hang on. Let me just pull this up. And here, hang on 1 second, sorry. And here are his works cited right here. Works cited. Crack pipe.
What did you witness yourself with your own eyes?
He witnessed literally nothing. He's completely full of shit.
Well, I've seen a great deal of dynamic activity.
Dynamic activity. It not to be confused with demonic activity. Two very different things.
Myself, only animal sacrifice, never human. But I work with people who have actually done the human sacrifice end of it. You see, that the reason why they do the human sacrifice or the animal sacrifice is to gain power from the devil.
Because killing an animal gains power. Right, totally.
This man's misrepresenting the mainline satanic cult, which is mainly called the Brotherhood. And they believe in total human sacrifice because that's the only way they can gain power.
Like, look at this guy's face. He's just shaking his head like, what are you even talking about? Again, what are your sources here exactly?
Power.
Go ahead, answer. Hold it. I want proof. Once again, I want proof of...
Yeah, please, literally anything. I will take anything. I actually have an old satanic, what do you call it? Like, it's a police report, an investigation into Satanism. Let's see if I can pull it up here. It's constantly popping up in my, hold on. Satan report. Is this it? Yes, Department of Justice investigation into satanic ritual abuse, Dungeons and Dragons, and the occult. Seriously, this is real. Okay, City of Glendale Police Department wrote this whole report on Satanism. Historical overview. Some common signs of deviant pagan and satanic practices. It was a wild time to be alive. But you know what's interesting? We're going through a similar panic right now, today, in the United States, the trans panic. And you hear the same kind of delusional, insane shit that they said back then about Satanism. They'd say the same delusional shit today about trans people. They're secretly training children in schools to be trans or gay and all this other insane, delusional shit. Seriously, like, these people are detached from reality. They were back then and they are today. And you know, they're the same people. A lot of the people that are bitching about the trans panic today were around for the satanic panic and were fueling it.
Proof of everything that you're saying. You know, it's nice to say that you know all these people who kill people and stuff, but I want proof. You know, it's easy to sit there and say, well, I've seen this. And you mentioned you've witnessed demonic activity. Did you see a demon? You know, you've got to learn to get your adjectives straight. You know, this has been going on for years. You know, I want proof. If this is going on, you've got to stop the people. You don't call up talk shows and mention it. You go to the police. That's what the police are for. I've consulted with police many times myself. I've opened my doors to them. They know what I am. They know what I represent.
You haven't opened your doors so they could attend one of your services, though.
Well, why the fuck would he do that? It's none of their fucking business. He opens his doors to work with them if they need help on something. Why would he allow them in to, like, attend his services if they're not a member of the church? He doesn't have any obligation to do that.
They haven't asked.
Well, see, the thing is I'm the one they call a lot of times to investigate.
Oh, so this is the expert. Yep.
To explain the different types of areas that they run into, like if it's a ritual sacrifice, or if a person's got books, or if there's a possible homicide that's not a suicide or whatever. But the point is it's proven, and there are now police agencies that only investigate cult-related activities such as murders, abductions, and so forth. And even in Maryland, since 1981, the satanic, I guess you'd call cult activity, is up over 600%.
Over 600%. Oh, my God. Can you believe it? 600%. That's scary stuff. It went from 13 people to 17. OMG. No, that's not 600%. It went from 10 people to 60 people. Oh, scary stuff, guys.
You say to be a Satanist means to follow one's natural instincts, to gratify every physical, emotional, and mental and sexual desire one has.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does that mean?
Well, I think it's self-explanatory. There's nothing wrong with...
I'm sorry. No, I meant to erase that last section. It was another video. I thought I was playing this one. Step back. We'll go back to the Satanist caller in a second, but this is the environment that we were in the 80s and 90s. This is from 1991. This is a member of parliament in Britain talking about the Satanic Panic.
Satanism exists in this country as it exists elsewhere. It is appallingly evil. It is about murder. It is about child abuse. It's about sexual abuse. It is no joke and must be taken seriously and must be dealt with.
I mean, they're focusing on this instead of the very real neo-Nazi groups that exist in the UK or the United States. They're focused on this stupid shit. When right-wing extremists are complaining about trans people entering into bathrooms, there are actually real neo-Nazi groups planning murders on people that they don't like. You're wasting your time on delusion.
If they can ritually abuse children if they can in any way sexually abuse children, anything to destroy a child's innocence or their trust or their wonder at the world, they will do it.
Anyway, these people are just delusional. Now check this. Let's keep listening to the Satanist caller here.
The thing about it is this is whitewashing it. They always want proof. They always want so on and so forth.
Yes, of course we always want proof. Are you serious?
You can check your police blotters, and you can find where police have unsolved crimes that have satanic origins. Even
why is it
a
satanic?
crime out in Frostburg where a ritual was performed. They found the person, and approximately a year later, the ritual was mocked again, and the police have still never come up with anything on that.
I want to thank you for your contributions to the show, and we'll let you respond and talk to some members in the audience right after this.
He never had an opportunity to respond. Again, I watched the whole thing. They just moved on to something else. The audience questions were actually interesting, too. Again, if you want to see the whole thing, it's on my Unfiltered channel. But the audience started zeroing in on the fact that he had multiple children with multiple women. Like, he was married to somebody but was having children with multiple people, although he'd never cheated on any of his like wives or whatever. His relationships were just very short, but they got along with each other really well and stuff like that. Anyway, it's just insane. Hold on, let me see. 101. 1 second, let me just write down my timestamps here. 107 to 122. Let's watch one more here. Here we go. This is the bit about him like being grilled by the audience.
I don't believe in loose sex. I believe in free sex with, common sense.
Have you fathered more than 30 children?
I have 33.
That's crazy. 33 kids. Holy Christ on a cracker.
All right. You have fathered 33 children?
Yes.
You provide for them?
Yes, I do.
How do you do that?
Well, I'm certainly not a poor individual, and...
What does that mean? I don't understand.
Well,
it means he's fucking rich, obviously. What the fuck do you think that means? Really?
I'm pretty well-to-do financially.
You got gummy bears in your ears? Do you not hear them the first time?
And the women that have, born my children are very well-to-do themselves. We're talking doctors, lawyers. One is a professor of psychology at a state university. These are not welfare mothers. These are successes. That's why they're Satanists, and they're all members of my church.
How many children have you fathered with someone other than your wife since you've been married?
I have no children by my wife.
So
since I've been married, none. We've only been married 6 months.
How many people have you had sex with other than your wife since you've been married?
None. I'm very monogamous with my wife. Mm-hmm. There is that responsibility. There are priorities.
It's interesting. He's monogamous, so it sounds like he's in relationships for short periods of time, right? Or something. I don't know how it works out exactly.
But you've had 33 kids on the way up. That's busy man. Yes, sir.
I'd just like to ask one question, and that's this. For something that's so powerful, why is the need for secrecy? I've never known power to confine itself to secrecy.
What? I'm sorry. What are you smoking? One more time? I'm sorry. One more time, brother. Tell me again.
For something that's so powerful, why is the need for secrecy? I've never known power to confine itself to secrecy.
You haven't? Are you 2 years old? That's what power is all about, secrecy. That's all all power wants to be veiled in secrecy, just about. You think Trump is out here broadcasting every corrupt, fucked up thing that he does? If he broadcasts it, it's by accident. All the corrupt little deals that he's making to make himself rich? Of course there's secrecy in power, obviously. And also, again, he's on TV. It says less than lucid. He's on TV. What else do you want?
It's very open.
Well, first of all, it's, there are no levels in my church. Basically, it's an occult think tank, a satanic think tank, if you wish.
I still wonder how well-to-do you have to be, to support 33 children.
Well, I don't...
Why is it any of your business? He has a lot of fucking money. Isn't that good enough?
would all, you know.
And don't you think bringing 33 kids into this world was irresponsible?
How?
No, because one, all these women wanted to have a child of mine. I believe that immortality is through one's children. I don't believe in the Christian concept of life after death.
I absolutely agree. I think that's on point. Passing down, not to children, but to other people, your knowledge, you know? Like when my grandma died, it hit me pretty hard, and I figured out the way to deal with it for me is to carry one physical object of hers. And I actually have it here. I always have it here with me. She's a very religious person, and she kept this as a bookmark in her Bible. It's a cross. It's a little cross bracelet type of thing. Keep one physical object and keep one tradition. She liked to play, you know, she liked to play certain games, or she liked to make certain foods at Christmas, or she would always, you know, whatever, just some tradition that she liked. She likes to cook certain things or whatever. And finally, one value that I can pass on to other people, like, she believed that it was better for people. She believed it was better to be taken advantage of by somebody than for that person to go hungry. She raised many kids over the years, children and grandchildren. And you know how kids do. They get up in the middle of the night and they say, I'm hungry or I'm thirsty. Not because they actually are, but because they don't want to be in bed right now. She would rather be a sucker and go make them food than risk the possibility of them being hungry. And that is a value that I think that we can all appreciate. And it translates to politics. She was a Democrat too, by the way, all the way to the end. She cared about people in her life and in the world, and was horrified that, you know, Trump was in office and everything. Anyway, I think we can carry that through to politics. I'd rather some people take advantage of the food stamp program and not have any hungry people than to have mass hunger and suffering just so that we don't risk the possibility that somebody is taking advantage in some way. That's the way that I view things because of her. That's how I deal with death. And I think that's a good way to kind of view mortality. That's how I view mortality. You are survived by the values that you held when you were alive, by passing them to other people. It doesn't have to be your child. It doesn't have to be, you know, it can be anybody, but passing on values that you feel are important.
You were talking about egos. Is your ego that big that you want at least 33?
I'll have 100 if I can.
Sir?
I'll have 100 if I can.
What does that have to do with ego? I don't understand how that's connected to ego at all.
You know, I would never have a child that could not be taken care of. You know, that's just not my style. These are all children that are taken care of.
I interject here just a moment. I think this is another example of making one's own rules.
Having children is an example of making your own rules. Shame on him for having children.
Most everybody in society sees that as a bit bizarre. But I would like to clarify just one point that would help us understand a bit what's going on here. We actually have 3 different kinds of satanic activity. And the ones that the gentleman over here is talking about would be the church's kind, Church of Satan, Church of Worldwide Church and such, who may very well do no sacrifices whatsoever. There are young people who dabble in it, who...
There really aren't any, like, Satanist groups out there doing any sacrifices of any sort, really. The Satanist groups that exist are non-theistic. I think there are a couple of groups out there, like the Order of Nine Angles, for example, who are right-wing extremist groups and do sacrifices and things like that. And I actually wrote about them on my website, cultarchive.org. You can look through like all these different cults and see how they kind of line up with modern day groups. And there are some modern groups in here. Like, look, just Order of Nine Angles right here. You can go through and start the historical walkthrough. It tells you a little bit about the group. Oops. The Order of Nine Angles represents one of the most dangerous extremist groups operating today, combining neo-Nazi ideology, theistic Satanism, and accelerationist terrorism into a deadly synthesis. And it kind of goes through their history, what they believe, and how they operate, things like that. The point is, there are a couple of theistic groups out there that are absolutely, out of their gourds. But for the most part, the major Satanist groups are non-theistic and aren't out there doing animal sacrifices or human sacrifices, certainly, or any of that. Church of Satan, the Satanic Temple, and there are some other smaller satellite groups out there. Like this guy's group was a satellite group that doesn't exist anymore, that are just normal people living their lives. And this supposed cult expert cannot wrap his head around it. Anyway, these people are insane, but it's so deeply entertaining to me. Tell me what you think in the comments. Let me write down my timestamp. That would be 32. All right, so we've hit Satanists. Wait a minute, where did my Satanist one go? There it is. All right, we got Joe Webbin, we got Nigeria, NIFB, Nick Fuentes, Dean, Christian Nationalism. And I actually had some other subjects I wanted to hit here. What was it? I should save this. I'm going to save this. American Eagles ad, Sydney Sweeney Great Jeans ad was astroturfed, completely fake. When did this come out? This came out October 2nd, 2025, right? Let's save this in my clips collection so that I can refer back to it later. All right. Close. 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 I don't need that right now. Close. What is this? Oh.
It's your
Right. I should save this. I'm going to grab this video so I don't forget about it. I'm going to grab it in Clippy. I have Clippy here. Let's see. Batch downloads, paste URL, add to queue, start queue. And it should download. Initializing. Perfect. Got it. It's done. Wow. It gave me 3 notifications. That's a problem. I'll fix that later. Close. All right. There is a claim going around right now that Christians are being persecuted in Nigeria. It's being claimed by Trump and Greg Locke and a bunch of other people. I want to talk about the validity of the claim. Hold on. 133. And let me just pull up the clips that go with it. Donald Trump has made some pretty bold claims about it. Listen to what he said.
Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands and thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of particular concern. That's a legal definition. When the Christians or any such group is slaughtered, like is happening in Nigeria, 3,100 versus 4,476 worldwide. What horrible numbers.
I don't know what those numbers mean. I do not have context for this. I don't know what he's talking about.
Something has to be done. I am asking Congressman Riley Moore, together with Chairman Tom Cole and the House Appropriations Committee, to immediately look into this matter and to report back to me. And I mean, like, immediately. The United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria.
I mean, it seems clear as day that he does not give a shit about this issue at all, right? Like, he couldn't possibly care less.
Numerous other countries. It's not only Nigeria, it's all over. We stand ready, willing, and able to save our great Christian population around the world. This is not going to happen. The killing of Christians is not going to happen.
So I wanted to understand, like, is this happening? What's the deal with this? Is this real? Because I heard the same kind of claims out of Greg Locke's mouth. I grabbed the wrong clip. That's okay. Greg Locke made some pretty on-the-nose extreme claims about it.
And the government, up until this moment, and I'll tell you about that in a parentheses, but the government, up until this moment in Nigeria, has been denying the reality of the existence of a genocide. But Boko Haram and these other Islamic groups...
Boko Haram is awful. I'll give them that. Yes, absolutely. They're terrible.
There it is again. There's a telltale sign every time that terrorism is taking place around the world, especially against Christians. This Boko Haram group has come in.
Oh my God, dude! You catch what he just said? He just said every time there's terrorist action around the country, it's Muslims doing it. Please, this feels really AI. Oh, you mean the Trump one?
Christianity is fake.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, possibly. I would have to. I don't know. I wish there was a better way to tell AI. We'll have tools that can help us figure it out sooner or later.
And butchered Christians. Nearly 100,000 in the last year that we know of, and some pastors are saying within the context of the last decade, over 500,000 people.
Wait, are you talking about the video or the image? You talking about the image? This? Is that what you mean? Yeah, I'm not actually sure. But we'll get to whether this is really happening.
Within the context of the last decade, over 500,000 people. Now, there's been 70 million martyrs since Stephen in the book of Acts, right? 70 million. 500,000 Christian martyrs just in northern Nigeria in the last number of years.
I'm sure I don't need to say it, but I'm going to anyway. Don't trust a word out of his mouth. He's completely full of shit.
Less probably than a decade, 100,000 in the last year. Mass graves, burning churches to the ground, raping women, killing children. It is disgusting. It is unbelievable. And everybody wants to talk about a fake genocide that supposedly happened in Gaza. And now everybody realizes it's all Hamas driven. And everybody wants to talk about something fake, right? Hollywood, what do they call it? Bollywood. And
okay, Bollywood is the Indian version of Hollywood, right? Why did he say Bollywood? I don't understand. So let me just draw out what he's doing here. He's claiming that what's happening in Gaza is not a genocide when it absolutely is. But what's happening in Nigeria is. It's disgusting to me. I mean, this should kind of show you why I doubt what's happening in Nigeria from the outset, because of the way it's being framed, in contrast to Israel and what they're up to. I don't want to let him get away with this stuff about, you know, claiming this about, like, Israel and how they're not doing something wrong or whatever. So, before we continue with Greg, let me just take a quick glance at this article. Israeli lawmaker defends alleged rape of Hamas prisoner as far-right protesters rage over IDF troops' detention. Ultra-right-wing Israeli nationalists stormed 2 military facilities late Monday, protesting the detention and questioning of 9 Israel Defense Forces reservists suspected of raping and abusing a Palestinian prisoner whose injuries were so bad he had to be hospitalized. This isn't alleged. We saw it on video. I believe that this is the video that was circulating. Social media videos show guards at the Sti Timan military base and prison near Beersheba in southern Israel, shouting at and pushing military police who'd arrived to question the reservists, seemingly in defense of the suspects. The Sti Timan facility is known to hold Palestinians arrested in Gaza since Israel launched its war on the territory's Hamas rulers in response to the group's gruesome October 7th terrorist attack. The soldiers suspected of the abuse have been held for questioning, which is rare in Israel during an ongoing conflict, and it's drawn a furious reaction from far-right Israelis, including some senior government officials. Yes, there are Israelis that they consider in Israel to be far-right. That's wild, right? The entire country is far-right at this moment, to a degree that is absolutely disturbing and insane. And the fact that they are labeling these people as far right should disturb the shit out of you. On Monday evening, a group of Israelis attempted to storm another military facility, with one protester threatening an uprising against the government if the suspects remain in custody. They are defending people raping Palestinian people in custody. So I don't want to hear it, Greg. And it's vile and evil and wrong that he's defending this shit. This is about as immoral as it gets for a pastor.
Happened in Gaza, and now everybody realizes it's all Hamas driven, and everybody wants to talk about something fake, right? Hollywood it, what do they call it, Bollywood, and they want to Bollywood everything up and use all these AI videos and all these filters and nonsense. Well, there's a real genocide going on, and nobody's saying anything about it.
Absolutely disgusting. Seriously, I don't know what's broken in his brain that he thinks it is okay to defend what Israel is doing right now. But anyway, let's talk about the Nigeria genocide, if that is indeed what it is. Don't let Mike Roch-Pilo run governor of the state of Prince and the Revolution. I don't understand what you just said, but I appreciate you saying it. Thank you. Means a lot that you guys super chat and everything, really. I appreciate it very much. Anyway, all right, let's continue. Are Christians being persecuted in Nigeria, as Trump claims? BBC. U.S. President Donald Trump has issued a fresh threat to target Nigeria if the government continues to allow the killing of Christians. In a video released on Truth Social, he pledged to do things to Nigeria that Nigeria is not going to be very happy about, and to go into that now disgraced country guns a-blazing. But the White House's interest in this subject did not come out of the blue. For months, campaigners and politicians in Washington have been alleging that Islamist militants were systematically targeting Christians in Nigeria. But the BBC has found that some of the data being relied on to come to this conclusion are difficult to verify. In September, popular TV host and comedian Bill Maher upped the ante, describing what is happening as a genocide. Referring to the Boko Haram group, he said they've killed over 100,000 since 2009. They've burned 18,000 churches. Similar figures have also been gaining traction on social media. The thing is, the far right and the atheist movement, of which I am a member, find common ground on Islam bad. And I agree that Islam is bad. Absolutely, without a question. It's awful in almost every single way. But we have to kind of keep our heads level here and not let emotions run away with us. And understand that there are, like, lots and lots of normal Muslim people who aren't hurting anybody, who are just living their fucking lives, just like there are normal Christian people and normal whoever. And a lot of the hate against Muslims as people is inspired by the differences that people see between us. I understand Christianity, so I don't have a problem with Christians, but I don't understand Muslims or Islamic society, so I have a problem with Muslims, that kind of thing. Bill Maher comes from a wing of the atheist movement that is very anti-Muslim just because they're Muslim, and that's it, and there is no good Muslim. That's kind of the way he views it. So you have to be kind of careful with, like, his analysis on anything, but especially anything Muslim related. The government in Abuja has pushed back on these claims, describing them as a gross misrepresentation of reality. It did not deny that there was deadly violence in the country, but officials said that terrorists attack all who reject their murderous ideology: Muslims, Christians, and those of no faith alike. That's true. That is accurate. It's not just Muslims. I'm sorry. It's not just Christians dying. And that's why it's not a genocide, as far as I can tell. They are targeting everybody that rejects them. Other groups monitoring political violence in Nigeria say the number of Christians who've been killed is far lower and say most victims of the jihadist groups are Muslims. Nigerian security analyst Christian Ani said that while Christians had been attacked as part of a broader strategy of creating terror, it was not possible to justify claims that Christians were deliberately being targeted. And Nigeria is facing various security crises across the country, not just violence by jihadist groups, and these have different causes, so should not be confused. The country's 220 million people. Wow, that's gigantic. I did not know it was so big. That's huge. The country's 220 million people are roughly evenly split between followers of the two religions, with Muslims the majority in the north, where most attacks take place. That's crazy. I did not know it was 220 million people. What are U.S. politicians saying? Prominent Texas Senator Ted Cruz has been... sorry, I'm just scrolling down again. Wait, let me just kind of scan through about Trump's figures. Research groups say been campaigning on this. All right. What are U.S. politicians saying? Prominent Texas Senator Ted Cruz has been campaigning on the issue for some time and highlighting similar figures to Maher on October 7th. He wrote on X that since 2009, over 50,000 Christians in Nigeria have been massacred, and over 18,000 churches and 2,000 Christian schools been destroyed. In an email to the BBC, his office made clear that unlike Maher, the senator was not calling this a genocide, but describing persecution. That's interesting. Bill Maher, why did he do that? Why did he... You know what? I bet I know why Bill Maher did that. He started describing it that way. Because he's trying to draw contrast between... Or he's trying to draw attention to something other than Israel, who is committing a genocide. I bet that's what it's about. But Cruz accused Nigerian officials of ignoring and even facilitating the mass murder of Christians by Islamist jihadists. Trump, echoing these words, has described Nigeria as a disgraced country, saying the government continues to allow the killings of Christians. The Nigerian government has denied this, saying it's doing its best to tackle the jihadist. Some officials have also welcomed the prospect of the U.S. helping fight the insurgents, as long as it's not done unilaterally. The authorities have certainly struggled to contain the violent jihadist groups and criminal networks. Most weeks seem to come with stories of fresh attacks or abductions. Boko Haram, infamous for kidnapping the Chibok girls just over a decade ago? I didn't hear about this. Chibok girls. Has been active since 2009. But its activities have been concentrated in the Northeast, which has a majority Muslim population. Other jihadist groups have also emerged, including the Islamic State West Africa province, but they also operate in the Northeast. ISIS, I think. The figures for Christian deaths cited by some in the U.S. are alarming, but assessing their accuracy is hard. So here's what I'm reading. I'm picking up that the numbers being provided are not real, and that they're targeting everybody. They're not targeting Christians personally. And Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, and other extremists are looking for an opportunity to draw attention away from Israel and point at a different issue. That's what I'm picking up here. When it comes to the source of the data, on a podcast in September, Cruz directly referred to a 2023 report by the International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law, a non-governmental organization that monitors and tracks human rights abuses across Nigeria. His office also sent the BBC a number of links to online articles on the issue, most of which pointed back to Intersociety. Marr did not respond to a BBC request for the source of his figures, but given certain similarities to those used by Cruz, it seems likely he was drawing on Intersociety's work. For data that could be shaping U.S. policy toward Nigeria, Intersociety's work is opaque. In its report published in August, which was an amalgamation of previous research and updated numbers for 25, it said jihadist groups in Nigeria had killed over 100,000 Christians in the 16 years since 2009. Interesting. So Intersociety is not giving us their data, their source of their data. Then they're opaque. They're not allowing us to see behind how they gathered this information, basically. It also notes that 60,000 moderate Muslims also died during this period. Intersociety did not share an itemized list of sources, making it hard to verify the total number of deaths it reports. In response to this criticism, the organization had said it is almost impossible to reproduce all our reports and their references dating back to 2010. Our easy method is to pick their summary statistics and add them to our fresh discoveries or findings to make up our new reports. But the data sources quoted by Intersociety in its reports do not reflect the figures published. That's interesting. So Intersociety numbers have problems then, is what I'm picking up here. And that's where all of this is coming from, Intersociety. Now, let's talk about those who have died in 2025. Looking at deaths this year alone, Intersociety concluded that between January and August, just over 7,000 Christians were killed. This is another figure that's been widely shared on social media, including by Republican Congressman Riley M. Moore, who's been a leading voice on this issue in the House of Representatives. Intersociety includes a list of 70 media reports at some of the sources to its findings on the attacks against Christians in 2025, but in about half of these cases, the original news stories did not mention the religious identity of the victims. Interesting. So it sounds like Intersociety seems to have like a bias, a bend. They're trying to make it seem like more Christians are dying than are actually dying. They're not giving us sources for their numbers, and their numbers actually don't even add up. That's what I'm reading here. For example, Intersociety quoted Al Jazeera report of an attack in northeastern Nigeria, saying that, according to the news organization, not less than 40 farmers, mainly Christians, were abducted by Boko Haram in Damboa, part of Borno State. But Al Jazeera's report didn't mention that the victims were mainly Christians, as quoted by Intersociety. Holy shit, dude. Intersociety told BBC that it does further analysis to identify their background without explaining how exactly in this case, but did mention their knowledge of local populations and use of Christian media reports. Adding the number of deaths referenced in these reports cited by Intersociety does not result in the stated total of 7,000. So their numbers are just wrong then, is what it seems like. The BBC added up the number of deaths from the 70 reports and found that the total was around 3,000 deaths. Some of the attacks also appeared to be reported more than once. To explain the shortfall, Intersociety says it also estimates the number of people it believes have died in captivity and includes eyewitness testimonies it cannot make public. Interesting. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not believing this fully. I don't want genocide, okay? Ever. Anybody. I don't want death, period. Full stop. Not death of Christians, not death of Muslims, not death of atheists or anybody. But this seems like a pretty clear-cut case of Greg Locke trying to deflect criticism away from Israel and towards somebody else, considering the fact that that's like literally exactly what he did in this video. So I'm very, very skeptical of what he has to say here and on this whole situation, honestly. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. This sounds completely contrived and fabricated to me. All right, let's see. 133 to 155. All right, good timing. 1 second here. But I wasn't sure. All right. Let's see here. Since I have you guys, a captive audience over here. Oh, hang on. I was going to show you Clippy again, but that's okay. I won't. All right, Nigeria is done. We got NIFB. We got Nick Fuentes. That's it, Fuentes. Oh, shoot. I put this in the wrong... No, this is right. No, we're good. We're good. Disregard. False alarm. Okay. Call me a Nazi. Yeah, this one. Here we are. Okay, good. This is Nick Fuentes. I've talked about him a few times before, but I want to talk about him again. He just went on Tucker Carlson's show, and it has caused massive infighting on the right. Like, people are melting down over the fact that Nick Fuentes is gaining some degree of influence, and it's been interesting to watch. Let me just kind of introduce you to him if you're unfamiliar.
All of the realist in history were virulent anti-Semites and racists.
This is a brand new clip, by the way.
Can I just pop off real quick? George Washington, racist. Abraham Lincoln, racist.
And these are good things about these people in his mind.
Christopher Columbus, racist. Jesus split the veil. His parting gift is that he tore the veil covering the Holy of Holies and shook the earth.
You know what's fascinating about that one? Nazis actually claimed that Jesus was the first anti-Semite and the first Aryan. They claimed that he was like blonde hair, blue-eyed, not Middle Eastern, but actually Aryan, born of a Roman father and all kinds of insane stuff. And it sounds like Nick Fuentes is kind of attaching to that a bit. They claimed that this is the theological basis for their belief system. They claimed Mary got pregnant by a Roman soldier named Julius Abdes Pantera or something like that. Pantera was the supposed soldier's last name that they supposedly found a tomb of and all this other nonsense. None of it's real, obviously. But being born of a Roman father would mean that he was Aryan, because Romans are, they're close to Aryan, like this close to Aryan in their minds. They used all kinds of mental gymnastics to get there. I think it's so disturbing that this dude has gone full Nazi, right? I mean, he says he likes Hitler. He debated Alex Jones on whether Hitler was a good guy or based. I think, was Hitler based was the question.
So the more that I read that, I'm just translating it in my head as real. When people say white nationalist, racist, anti-Semite Nick Fuentes, I'm just reading badass motherfucker. I'm just reading real ass Nick.
Colossal scumbag, obviously. And he kind of like draws out for us the concern in this next clip.
You can call me a Nazi. You better be careful. Because if I'm a Nazi, then there's millions of young people that are following a fucking Nazi.
No fucking shit, really? So you're telling me I shouldn't call you a Nazi because that would be bad if you were a Nazi? Yes, I realize that. Yeah, obviously, yes. That's concerning. Do you think that you're only a Nazi if people call you one? Is that like the premise here?
So you better be careful about those words. You're saying I'm a Nazi, I'm a monster. There's a million monsters then. There's a million Nazis out there then. because they love my show and they agree with me way more than they agree with you, and they're pissed off.
Yep. I know. That's disturbing. I'm not sure where the you should be careful about calling me a Nazi bit came in. Like, where did that come into the equation?
And they'll follow me into battle. So you better be real careful. You're barking up the wrong tree with that.
Anyway, he's a colossal scumbag. And fascinatingly, Greg Locke, of all people, is appalled by the far right at this point. He's still a far right nutcase in his own right, but there's definitely a schism.
It will no longer.
This is from before. He's about to address this old supposed prophecy that he laid down. I think that he said this like a month ago or something.
The conservative movement will no longer look the same, because the deciding factor of where you stand with Israel is going to divide it, listen, not right down the middle. It'll probably be about a 60-40.
So he said this like a month ago, I think. And he's going to claim that this is a prophecy that is now coming true, that God gave him this information from on high. And this proves that he communicates with God. Bro, this has been going on for like years at this point. There's been a split between the Nazis and the Zionists in the far right for like ever at this point. And it's just now, in the past 6 months, getting pretty intense. Well, the past year, it's been getting really intense since Trump won.
60% of conservatives are going to take a stand against the Jewish people.
I don't think so. Right now, I think it's like 32% stand against Israel in the conservative movement. And as we know, there are basically two wings of the Republican Party. There's the Zionist wing and the Nazi wing. If you support... All right. Nobody supports Palestine in the Republican Party. You either support Israel or you fucking hate Jews. Those are pretty much the only two options in the Republican Party. Because they don't give a shit about people's well-being. They don't care about human rights or suffering, or they don't care. They don't care. They care about getting what they want. And the Zionists want Jesus to return, and they need Jews to control that region before he can. And the Nazis fucking hate Jews, so they just, they want them to suffer at any cost. That's what it's about.
And about 40 are going to have enough wrought iron backbone and half a Bible and half a brain to know that we better not get involved in that 60% side. And I promise you, the very next thing that will rock the midterms and the very next thing that will rock the 28 election will be whether people stand for the nation of Israel or not.
So he's saying that there's a massive fight coming in the conservative movement. That's interesting.
That is the absolute facts.
I think there might be a big fight, but I don't think it's going to get as big and dramatic as it seems, honestly. Infighting doesn't normally get ginormagantuan like that on the Republican side.
So we're talking about a clip that was, well over a month ago, and it...
Wow, he's a prophet of God, guys.
Is prophetically coming true right now, because the conservative movement, shall I say the red hat MAGA movement, is being split. And it's not being split right down the middle. It's being split 60-40.
No, it's 30-70. 30% are Nazis. 70 are Zionists, give or take, in my opinion.
And I hate to have to say this, but I'm telling you, the person that the devil is using to split the conservative movement is Tucker Carlson. The guy that we never would have imagined, and I mean, this guy has doubled down on his Jew hate. Now, Candace Owens, she's gone buck wild, psychobabble crazy lately with just about everything that she's talking.
So the point is that Greg Locke is engaging in conservative infighting, and I'm here for every second of it. But he's upset that Tucker Carlson invited Nick Fuentes on his show to talk. And fascinatingly, after Fuentes went on Tucker Carlson's show, the head of the Heritage Foundation, of all people, Kevin Roberts, defended Tucker Carlson's decision. And it led to such a massive schism in the Heritage Foundation that Kevin Roberts had to apologize and said he was willing to step down. But he said he wanted to clean up his mess before he stepped down. I mean, it's real. This is real. Hang on. The crack up at the Heritage Foundation is a warning sign for MAGA world. This is on the Wall Street Journal. I can't stand paywalls, dude. Oh my God. Let me try this one. Really? Here we go. No? Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. I would love to paywall bypass. Maybe I'll have to write a program like Clippy for this. Option 2. Sending you to blah, blah, blah. Here. Yes, got it. Awesome. The crack up at the Heritage Foundation is a warning sign for MAGA world. The Heritage Foundation is God, I'm going to get this sentence out, I swear to God. The Heritage Foundation is no ordinary think tank. Since the days of Ronald Reagan, it has been the conservative movement on the march, delivering ready-made policies and battle-hardened pundits to Republican presidents. Heritage spoke proudly with one voice, insisting that its scholars take a unified stand on key issues. Yeah, Heritage Foundation is the conservative movement. They write the bills for Republicans in the United States. They are the entire movement. And the Heritage Foundation was created by ex-KKK leaders, basically. People who were unhappy about the Brown v. Board of Education Supreme Court decision. Now they can't discriminate legally against black people. That's who started the Heritage Foundation, those people. Anyway, let's keep reading. Today, that almost military discipline has collapsed, and many current and former staffers blame Kevin Roberts, who took over as the foundation's president in 2021. They joke that the group's operating principle is now more of a one-man policy, with Roberts moving aggressively to align the think tank with the Make America Great Again movement. As Democrats revel in their electoral success this week, the divisions at Heritage highlight growing fractures facing President Trump's winning 2024 election. The long-simmering conflict between Roberts and the Institute's old guard spilled into public view in recent days. The immediate cause was a video posted by Roberts late last month defending Tucker Carlson, who drew widespread condemnation for his respectful interview with the right-wing influencer Nick Fuentes, an avowed white supremacist and Holocaust denier. That's fascinating, right? Wait, what's this say?
Set by our international affairs and former Washington correspondent Kevin Gorgeous. Study. So why was this interview specifically triggering so much controversy?
You know what? This is frustrating. Let me see if I can I grab this? I'm not sure if I'll be able to grab this with Clippy. I have some generic grabbers, but I'm not sure if, let's see. It seems to work. Let's see if it actually downloads. There are multiple videos on this page, so it may have trouble differentiating. It says it downloaded and it's re-encoding.
For more on all of
Yeah, you grabbed it. Fantastic. Clippy is the shit. I love this program to death. Your local life. God, dude. There are fruit flies in the house. It's driving me up a fucking wall. There are no sources where they're breeding or anything. There are like 2 of them that follow me to every fucking room, and I have no idea how to get rid of them. It's driving me up a wall. All right. Here we go.
Joined on set by our international affairs and former Washington correspondent Kevin Gorgistani. So why was this interview specifically triggering so much controversy?
Well, look, first of all, it's because of who Nick Fuentes himself is. This is someone who has in the past and repeatedly held some very controversial position, to say the least. He has denied the Holocaust. He has praised Hitler many times. He has expressed deeply racist, anti-Semitic, homophobic, misogynistic views. And I'll just give you one example from his own podcast, America First, from back in March, when he said the following. He said, "Jews are running a society. Women need to shut the F up. Blacks need to be jailed for the most part, and we would live in paradise. It's that simple." This is someone who hasn't hidden these positions. During the interview itself, he called for an exclusive pro-white Christian movement in America. He railed against what he called organized Jewry.
Why did they show an old picture of him from like 10 years ago when he looked completely different? That's weird.
He said was a threat to the existence of the United States. The other reason why it was so controversial is that given his positions, it was a very complacent, very friendly interview that Tucker Carlson did. And Tucker Carlson, a former Fox News pundit and presenter, is known to be pretty tough, even on fellow conservatives. And so the interview became very quickly a top-viewed episode for Tucker Carlson on YouTube, nearly 6 million views already.
Yeah, and Nick Fuentes in the video said things like, "I like Joseph Stalin. I'm a fan. I celebrate his birthday every year, December 18th, I think." And it's like, all of this bullshit you talk about hating Marxists and Leninists and communists and everything, and you're gonna let Nick Fuentes sit here and say some shit like that with absolutely no pushback whatsoever. It was almost like watching him do the Vladimir Putin interview again. It was so vanilla. Anyway, the point is that Kevin Roberts of Heritage really screwed the pooch, if you will. He stepped in it hard, and people are not happy with him as a result. People have been quitting the Heritage Foundation, leaving completely, unless he resigns. I mean, it's a big deal. Roberts' critics say the video amounted to a reckless invitation to anti-Semites to join the Republican establishment, which has long sought to keep at bay the party's most radical fringe. Roberts has acknowledged in recent days that the video was a mistake, but it hadn't quelled unrest at the think tank. When Trump rose to prominence and upended the conservative movement a decade ago, Heritage was left largely on the sidelines. Roberts' mission has been to make the group relevant again, according to Heritage employees and others close to the think tank. And he succeeded. I'll give him that. He did succeed in doing so. Anyway, the reason that I wanted to talk about that is because Nick Fuentes addressed it directly. Let me actually see if I can show you the video of Kevin Roberts even mentioning that. Where is it? Hold on. Let me try the twit. Hang on. Kevin Roberts. Tucker? Media? Is this it?
The boundaries.
That's very long. Hold on. No, that can't be it. 1 second. Here, this.
I'll have more to say on this in the coming days.
This is it.
But today I want to be clear about one thing. Christians can critique this.
Okay, this is the video I was looking for. Check this out. This is Kevin Roberts commenting on Fuentes and Tucker Carlson.
I'll have more to say on this in the coming days. But today I want to be clear about one thing. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic. And of course, anti-Semitism should be condemned. My loyalty as a Christian and as an American is to Christ first and to America always. When it serves the interests of the United States to cooperate with Israel and other allies, we should do so, with partnerships on security, intelligence, and technology. But when it doesn't, conservatives should feel no obligation to reflexively support any foreign government, no matter how loud the pressure becomes from the globalist class or from their mouthpieces in Washington.
Wow. So that wasn't just supporting Tucker Carlson's right to do an interview. It was saying Jews control the world and we need to fight against them. That was very clearly signaling that he is a neo-Nazi, right? I mean, there's something to say about AIPAC controlling politicians and things. I absolutely agree. But we're talking about neo-Nazis who believe that, who are Holocaust deniers, and Kevin Roberts repeating Holocaust deniers' opinions, not on that specific subject, but directly talking about them.
The Heritage Foundation didn't become the intellectual backbone of the conservative movement by canceling our own people or policing the consciences of Christians. And we won't start doing that now. We don't take direction from comments on X, though we are grateful for the robust free speech debate. We also don't take direction from members or donors, though we are inherently grateful for their support. And we're adding more every day. This is the robust debate we invite with our colleagues, our movement friends, our members, and the American public. We will always defend truth. We will always defend America, and we will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda. That includes Tucker Carlson, who remains, and as I have said before, always will be a close friend of the Heritage Foundation. The venomous coalition attacking him.
Again, like this isn't even about the fact that he defended Tucker. The opener there seems pretty damning to me. But Nick Fuentes, he commented on the fact that the Heritage Foundation supported him. Listen to what Fuentes said about this.
So, look, there's good people in this administration, and I know because...
Sorry, wrong one. It's this one.
What this signifies is that Heritage, the accreditation institution, the brain, the priestly class that promulgates the Republican dogma, if that institution says that Groyperism is up for debate, it's on the table, it's not canceled, we should talk about the ideas, and we should defend the people that defend the Groypers or talk to the Groypers. It signifies that, one, that place is a safe harbor, as I said before. So a Groyper could go to work at Heritage and maybe feel welcome and comfortable, and he won't be fired. And you might have a Groyper at Heritage who is going to be writing a policy paper about, who knows, foreign policy, education, immigration. They might be considered like an expert, and maybe they'll go on to be a legislative director for a senator, and they might be writing laws for the U.S. government. It's conceivable.
It is conceivable, and that's what's so fucking disturbing about it.
If the president of Heritage says Tucker is in the big tent, then that means that Tucker and Nick Fuentes sympathizers are allowed to be employed at Heritage, and thus they might be in the position to determine the dogma. They can write the doctrine.
Yeah, I would venture as far as to say that Tucker legitimized Nick Fuentes on a national stage by doing that interview and being so softball about it. And Kevin Roberts has very clearly bought into it. And is totally fine with all of that. I mean, he's paying the political price, and he apologized for it and everything else. But you know, when these people apologize for shit like this, they don't actually mean it. They never actually mean it. So anyway, disturbing as shit that Fuentes is being legitimized. Interesting to see the infighting, though. And in my opinion, the more infighting there is, the better. I do not want unity between these fucking nutcases. Yeah, tell me what you think about it in the comments. Also, let me just grab this video, this Kevin Roberts video that I wanted. Here, 1 second. Let's see here. Just downloading it. It's supposed to add it to my library automatically. Let's see if it worked. Okay. Sometimes it re-encodes the video, renames, and overwrites the original. A discrepancy. Okay, let's see. So 2:21. Write the timestamps down. Fuentes. 2:21 and 1:56. Dude, I want to play like Mario 3. That would be awesome, right? To go through Super Mario World 3 right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've covered 5 stories. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, I'm done with Fuentes. Let's hit Webben. There's another... No, wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Yes, there's another story I wanted to hit. What was it?
Or is Christian nationalism... Laws don't just result...
Why are those the only 2 Christian nationalist videos I have? There was another subject I wanted to hit, and for some reason I don't have it. That's weird. That's okay. We'll hit these. Okay. Let's talk about Joel Webben. I've talked about this guy a few times, but in case you're unfamiliar, listen to what he said recently.
Yeah, you can't be a vigilante, but you literally can join ICE and be God's appointed avenger. Right, who seeks to carry out God's vengeance on the evildoer. Immigration is evil. So to join the proper mechanism through ICE and to become, in that sense, God's appointed deacon to carry out vengeance on the evildoer who is devouring the inheritance of the children, that is a righteous thing. You can join ICE today and make Jesus smile as you, with a gun, pack foreigners into the back of a van.
How fucking disgusting and vile and evil and wrong is that shit? You can be an avenger today. You can be God's avenger today by packing foreigners into a van because immigration is evil. Every time I hear somebody say this, I have to ask, why is immigration evil? What's bad about it? How is it negatively impacting your life in any way, shape, or form? The answer is it's not. It's not negatively affecting people's lives. Immigration is phenomenally good for society. There is no downside to immigration. None. If somebody is telling you there's a downside to immigration, it's purely and completely because of xenophobia and racism. There is no other reason. Seriously, I mean, really, like, think about this for a minute. What's the bad part? Adding people to your GDP, adding people to your population grows your GDP. It makes the country more powerful. There is no downside, I'm telling you. So what is the downside in Joel Webben's mind? Why is it quote-unquote evil? The real answer is actually pretty revealing. Here's the answer right here.
Like, I walk around my neighborhood, and it's not that there are different shades of, white and brown. Who cares? No, it's like full, straight-up Hindu garb at our neighborhood swimming pool that my daughter is asking, I'm trying to explain. She's like, and I don't even know what country I'm in my own neighborhood. I don't know where I am. It's, the number of, when we go on a family walk, the number of Pakistani, Hindu.
I have to wonder why he picked Pakistani. That's an ethnicity, not a religion. Also, Hindu garb. I mean, I assume he's talking about traditional cultural dress of Indians, right? Like Indian dress. You think that this woman was wearing, like, oh my God, dude, fucking fruit flies. I'm sorry. There are one or two that are driving me up a fucking wall. And I'm gonna cut this out of the final video, but like they're harassing me. And yes, I did see your message earlier. Somebody sent me a message. I did see the suggestion. It's one that's fucking harassing me, dude. And I know I've gone through it all. I set traps and I've cleaned out the entire fucking house. There's nothing that they're surviving on. I understand they lived for 2 weeks with just no food or whatever. It's been like a month, and there's still these two that are harassing the shit out of me, and I don't know when they're gonna fucking die. I can't stand it. Anyway, I'm sorry. Back to what I was doing. I would be willing to bet that the Indian he's referring to wasn't wearing traditional religious dress. She's probably wearing Indian clothing, like, you know, standard Indian dress that they wear in India, if I had to guess. And then he picks an ethnicity, Pakistani people.
All these,
like, what's his problem with that one specific region of the world?
all these different, not just ethnicities, but religions with.
Well, next time try listing religions then, if that's what you have a problem with, instead of ethnicities.
With visible religious outfits on. And, you know, the same thing like when we go to Costco, I'm like, where am I? You know, and so like.
You're at Costco? You got dementia or something?
I mean, it's rare. Like we'll go on a family walk and every now and then we'll pass by, you know, a white family that's a man and a woman and has more than one kid. And every time I see it, I'm like, I don't want to be this way.
Then don't fucking be this way. So he recognizes that it's wrong to dislike people because of their ethnicity, but he just is that way. The point is to go back to what, you know, the previous video about being vigilantes for God or whatever. ICE is vigilantes for God. It's racism. That's why he supports ICE. It's racism. Plain and simple. Disgusting. Listen to this one from Joel Webbin.
We're not actually critiquing gatekeeping as a whole. Right. If the right is ascendant and we win, you absolutely should gatekeep from the left.
Correct. Yeah.
But in this case,
there should not be transgender people on the White House lawn. So it's like, well, wouldn't you gatekeep?
Why shouldn't there be trans people on the White House lawn?
House lawn. So it's like, well, wouldn't you gatekeep them if you guys were ever in power? Of course.
Right. That's why you have to win.
Well, how come you're allowed?
So you can gatekeep.
How come you're allowed to do that? Because
wait, who's gatekeeping? What are you talking about? Gatekeeping who?
So it's like, well, wouldn't you gatekeep them if you guys were ever in power?
Who does he think the left is trying to gatekeep? Right-wing extremists? Yeah, definitely. I don't think we should have right-wing extremists anywhere near government. But that's not because of, like, an immutable intrinsic quality about them. That's because of their ideology, because they're fucking nutcases. Because they want to destroy the government, and because they want to kill people. You guys familiar with the paradox of tolerance? I know I wasn't until fairly recently, so I want to talk about the paradox of intolerance for anybody who is unfamiliar, like me, who had just heard the term maybe, but didn't know anything about it. Let's talk about it for a second. We'll come back to Joel Webbin. Hang on. Here's how the paradox of intolerance goes. To maintain a tolerant society, it must be intolerant of intolerance. It's an idea by Karl Popper. It's pretty interesting. If society tolerates those who are intolerant, it risks enabling the eventual dominance of intolerance, thereby undermining the very principle of intolerance. So we should be tolerant of people. The idea is your right to swing your fist ends at the tip of my nose, right? You can swing it anywhere you want, but right here. Because then you're not exercising your rights, you're violating my rights. Tolerance. You can swing your fist anywhere you want, and I don't care. Go nuts. Swing away. I'm tolerant of that. But what I'm not tolerant of is you forcing me not to swing my fist anywhere I want except for your nose. And you can go up there and lobby for your right to control when people are allowed to swing their fists all you want. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't tolerate people regulating what other people are allowed to do with their lives. You may not like that people swing their fists around on their own property, in their own home, but it's none of your fucking business. That's the idea. If we tolerate people being intolerant of others, they take over and they start to control things. They take people's rights away. Hold on. Wow, that's weird. There was a there's a Muslim one. All right, it's Karl Popper. Here's the idea. This is a comic. The Paradox of Tolerance by by philosopher Karl Popper. Should a tolerant society tolerate intolerance? No Nazis. And the Nazi says, you want more tolerance? Respect my ideas. The answer is no. It's a paradox because, it's a paradox, but unlimited tolerance can lead to the extinction of tolerance. Nazis say, when we extend tolerance to those who are openly intolerant, let's give them a chance. The tolerant ones end up being destroyed, and tolerance with them. Any movement that preaches intolerance and persecution must be outside of the law. As paradoxical as it may seem, defending tolerance requires to not tolerate the intolerant. So think of it like a social contract. We all agree on being tolerant of each other. We all agree to work together. And, someone wants to be Christian, they can go be Christian. Someone wants to be Muslim, they can go be Muslim. But the intolerant are not signing up for that social contract, so they are exempt from it. You have to sign on to the social contract to be protected by it. That's the idea. It's not a paradox when you kind of view it that way, that they have to sign on to this social contract to be protected by it. That's the paradox of intolerance. And Joel Webben is the intolerant and wants to impose his will and ideas on everybody around him. He wants to force everybody to be Christian. I mean, he wants to force church attendance every week to his okayed list of churches. And he's saying, well, you would, gatekeep if you took power. No, I wouldn't. I am tolerant. Anybody can be involved in government except the intolerant. Like you.
Wouldn't you gatekeep them if you guys were ever in power? Of course.
Right. That's why you have to win.
Well, how come you're allowed?
So you can gatekeep.
How come you're allowed to do that? Because
you're exempt from the social contract that protects you because you don't sign on to it.
Right. What is this equal standard? I don't get it. It's like we should have equal standards. Christians should tolerate wickedness.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. You should stay in your own fucking life and mind your own business, actually. You shouldn't tolerate wickedness. You should leave people the fuck alone. It's none of your business, actually, is what it is.
Equal standards. Christians should tolerate wickedness equally to wicked people tolerating righteousness. Wait, what?
Hang on.
That's correct. You know why? Because I believe that you are wicked. You are the wicked one in this equation. You are saying that ICE is God's chosen avengers. That's fucking wicked. You view me as wicked. I view you as wicked. The solution is to leave each other alone. But see, he's not signing on to that agreement that I just made to leave each other alone. And that makes him exempt from it.
It doesn't need to be equal at all. Christians don't have to tolerate degeneracy, and degenerates absolutely must tolerate righteousness, or they need to go to jail or flee the country.
Right.
It's a wonderful principle.
That's us. We go to jail or flee the country in his mind. Wonderful principle. Fucking psychotic.
Principle. Perfectly biblical. No, there's nothing equal about it.
This dude is straight up evil. Seriously. Like I said, you know, this is wickedness. If I've ever seen it. He's also a Holocaust denier. He's basically take a bad position and he holds it. Hold on, let me just write the timestamps down again. We were at 2:26. We have a little more time to cover here. Check this one out. This really lays out his positions.
Is Christian nationalism just a modern phrase for theonomy, or are there actually some distinctions? If so, what are they?
The Venn diagrams, it's not circles that map.
No, this isn't the one I wanted. Listen to this. This is what I was looking for.
Laws don't just result from the culture of a people. Laws then turn around and shape the culture of the people. Right. So there is a very real sense in which culture is downstream from worship, but part of our worship produces a legal system that then continues to disciple and radicalize people further and further. So you can take something like no-fault divorce. It didn't just capture, well, we have this new idea about marriage and divorce. It then turned around and discipled people about what is marriage all about? What is the nature of happiness in marriage? What is a successful marriage? Is marriage a permanent thing at all? So law has a didactic value, and that's part of the top-down conversation, is that 3% gets a Dusty Devers elected, and then Dusty gets signal boosted by all the the leftists that hate him, and they end up accidentally discipling a couple thousand more people every time they do that to agree with you.
Well, the point or the idea behind exposing Dusty Devers, Joel Webbin, and people like that is that they already have a lot of influence. They already have way more influence than I could even lend them, and I'm not directing anybody to Joel Webbin. I'm not bringing anybody to believe, or certainly not in any real numbers, but I'm drawing attention to the fact that he is an evil sack of shit. That has value. Hang on, let me fix my camera. It's kind of off-center here. And weird. All right, you can sit down, Miki. Go on, you can sit. Go ahead. Such a good kitty. You guys see this good kitty here? Elite kitty.
We have to be very clear that we're not just here to write laws. We're writing laws that are orienting us to the lawgiver, but we can only rightly orient ourselves to the lawgiver, not by external law, but by the internal submission to the lawgiver and trust in him and receiving his grace, receiving the Lord Jesus, and then living our lives in accordance with him. External law should match the internal law of the heart so that the conscience and the law of the land are in union. They're in unity.
So he's describing how he intends to impose Christianity on everybody. He says he wants... by the way, Dusty Devers on the left is an Oklahoma State senator. If you were curious, that's who that is. And obviously agrees with Joel Webbin on just about everything. And he says, here, there's another one. Let me find it.
From a pastoral standpoint, it should be very...
Hold on.
I've noticed is...
I'm just looking for the right video here.
So the idea...
Here it is.
So...
Yeah, this video. Check this out.
So I didn't catch any of the Allie Beth Stuckey trad wife conversation because I was out legislating morality.
He's legislating morality, he says. He believes that it's a good thing to control people's actions and force them to act according to his interpretation of the Bible. This is what I'm talking about with the paradox of intolerance. This is intolerant of everybody who has a different lifestyle than him. He's trying to impose his lifestyle on everybody else. And we must be intolerant of people like that. We must exclude them from the social contract. They are not protected from it, and he has no place within public society because of the shit that he wants to push on people. His, anti-Semitic, anti-black, anti-gay, anti-everything positions are vile and evil and wrong. And I just am sick of it, honestly. These people are fucking evil and are exempt from or excluded from the social contract until they're willing to allow people to live their own fucking lives in their own way without imposing their own lives upon them. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. And also tell me what you think about Miki, this super good kitty right here. Let me know. Listen, you can hear the pats. Could you hear the pats? Was it audible? All right. Let's see. That was 241. Good timing. 36, 41. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. I think that's good timing. I'm going to get off of here. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It's been fun. Oh, yeah. Mr. BME, Mir BME, I appreciate the membership. Thank you so much. Also, Rick Robin Cagnan, I meant like Mike Lindell and Minnesota's State of Prince and the Revolution. I was referring to Mike Roch Pilo, a pun name for... Oh, okay, I understand. That makes sense. Don't let Mike Pillow run governor of the state. Yeah, I don't think he has any chance of winning anyway, for what that's worth, but... All right, I'm getting out. Thanks, guys. I will see you guys on Wednesday on my Unfiltered channel, okay? All right, have a good